1,000 applicants have queued up to undergo documentation verification and body screening as part of the selection process. Later, 3 Foundation and Management of Media General commenced a fundraising exercise to help secure an accommodation and shop for 32-year-old domestic violence victim Harriet Amuzu. Details of these and other stories, please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Well, we're starting off with Parliament, where lead proponent of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, Ntim Fordjour, has expressed disappointment over the continuous delay in programming the anti-LGBTQ bill for its laying and passage. He says there seems to be a deliberate attempt to frustrate the process by passing the bill, adding that it creates a wrong impression about Parliament. He makes a call that the bill be advertised for next week, barely a few days after the president boldly assured the public he would sign the bill into law once the House passes.
Mr. Speaker, and it's been 6 weeks since the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, Private Members Bill, was featured on the order paper. The next day it was removed and some disputed reasons were given. A week after, the Speaker of Parliament gave a ruling very clear. The records Hansard captures it, that nothing prevents the bill from being laid. It is 5 weeks from the time that Mr. Speaker gave that ruling. And since then, no attempt has been made by this House to have the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill to deal with the canker of LGBT devastating our norms and culture in this country, threatening our family values. And there seems to be a very conspicuous silence on this. Mr. Speaker, the House must not create the impression that what was a priority in the 8th Parliament, a priority to the 275 members of Parliament, has suddenly been thrown under the carpet and has suddenly been jettisoned by the 9th Parliament. We debated it and we concluded. The controversy was resolved. Speaker declared that the bill has to be featured on the order paper. So the attempt by this government, by blocking this bill and blocking it from being featured, is a big disappointment to the people of this country, to the over 93% of Ghanaians who believe that marriage is between man and woman. It is a big disappointment to them. We demand that if it was oversight or error, it must be added to the order paper so that next week it is laid and presented for first reading, because on record, it has satisfied all the processes by the dictates of our standing orders and has been duly approved to be presented, laid for first reading and consequential referrals. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, that was the lead proponent of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, Reverend Ntim Fordjour. Now, in response to the demand for the program to be laid before Parliament next week, the Majority Leader, Mahama Ayariga, has assured government that it is ready to get the law passed and implemented. He cautioned against conspiracy that the NDC is reluctant to approve the bill.
As the records of this House will testify, the government of President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC majority, and I believe the Right Honorable Speaker, we are all very committed to the passage of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill. If you recall, a couple of weeks ago when we debated this, I was the person who insisted that the fastest way to have this passed into law is to take a position that this parliament has already passed it. So what is left is signature. And I recall many on your side arguing against my position, and so Speaker ruled, and he ruled that so far as he is concerned, the life of the 8th Parliament had elapsed, and this is a new Parliament, and once it wasn't signed, it had to be reintroduced afresh and taken through all the stages. So if you had listened to my advice and sided with me in the debate in this House, that we should treat it as having been passed by this House, and that once it is passed by this House, it is not part of businesses that have elapsed. By now, we would have left it squarely in the hands of the presidency to sign. But because I didn't get that support from you, the position became that it hasn't been passed, and so we must take it through all these processes. So if there's anybody committed to this legislation being passed, clearly it is me and then the people on this side, especially to have it passed expeditiously. Now, you decide that it should be freshly considered by this House, and I think that at this point, the Speaker indicated that it is going through the mail and will come back to this House. And so it is not an attempt by government. It's not an attempt by government. And President John Dramani Mahama has indicated time and again that any moment that the bill is brought before him, he will expeditiously sign it.
That was Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga there. Now, joining us on the phone is our parliamentary correspondent, Christian Iyale, to give us updates on what has been ensuing in the House today. Christian, if you can hear me, can you give us an update on what ensued in the House this morning?
All right, so, Enyonam, what is currently happening is the resumption of the debate on the 2026 budget by MPs. Over the week since Tuesday, various or different sectors have been considered for each day, and so today as well, the debate on the fiscal policy of government for next year has just begun from the majority side. I see that currently the MP for Bolibamboy, who is the Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Yusuf Suleimana, has just ended his commentary on the budget, and so it is expected that this will take a significant period of time, because then you have a list of MPs from both sides, from both the majority and the minority caucus, who are due to debate today. This is going to continue until next week, where the debate will be concluded by both the majority and minority leaders.
Christian, have you had any reaction from some members of the Parliament on the passing of the anti-LGBT bill?
In fact, when you listen to the minority side, it has been their prayer and has been their message that for about 6 weeks now that the House has been in session, or let's say 5 weeks, ending this today, they feel that the NDC side has not done well in fast-tracking the reintroduction or the relaying of the bill, which is what was earlier echoed by the proponent, Ntim Fordjour. In fact, they maintain that the kind of pressure that was given to the former president, Nana Akufo-Addo, to sign this bill into law is not the same energy that is being exuded by the current majority side. But the majority side also insists that, see, the president has already made some assurances. If that is the case, then no one should make a conspiracy or attempt to make it seem as though they are not committed to signing this bill into law. And so it has just been the usual politics of how they all want to approach it. But I can inform you that there is this bipartisan support for the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill.
Christian, thank you so much. And that was my colleague and parliamentary correspondent, Christian Iyale, bringing us an update on what ensued in the House this morning. Now we'll take you to the Volta region where tensions is mounting in the whole Zongo community following the installation of Alhaji Muniru Ali, leader of one of two feuding parties or groups, at the Volta Regional Chief Imam. This installation, which took place earlier this month, has reignited tensions in the Zongo, with some residents accusing lead government officials for undue interference. Now, joining us on the phone for updates on this issue is my colleague Faisal Idrisu, our Volta regional correspondent. Faisal, if you can hear me, can you run us through what is happening in Zongo and the latest on the issue regarding the office of the Volta Chief Imam?
In 2019, the then Volta Regional Chief Imam, Alhaji Imoro, passed. And right after his demise, the issue of who replaces him became a matter of conflict between two feuding groups, one led by his then deputy and another group led by one Alhaji Muniru Ali, who we understand as the then Regional Chief Imam's nephew. Between that period and now, we have seen pockets of violence, confrontations between the two groups that even led to the closure of the whole central mosque for more than a year. But on November 1, just a few days ago, the National Chief Imam was in Ho to install Alhaji Muniru Ali, leader of the one of the groups, as the Volta Regional Chief Imam. We thought that that would have put to rest the matters regarding the office of the Volta Regional Chief Imam, but that is not the case. The group led by Alhaji Alpha Anas 2 days ago besieged the Central Mosque and indicated strongly that they are not in agreement with the installation of Alhaji Muniru Ali, and that they are sure of political undercurrent led by people at the Volta Regional Coordinating Council and also at the traditional council, and that they would not allow the new Volta Regional Chief Imam lead any prayer session in the Central Mosque. Today is Friday. I will be moving there shortly to see how things pan up. But let's listen to Abdul Razak Abubakar, who addressed the press shortly on that issue.
Faisal, we're having some technical problems, but we'll play that immediately after this. But it comes off as is threatening the peace in Zongo. What are stakeholders saying? I'm sure you've engaged with some of them.
This is a matter that affects the peace in the area. I tell you, in 2022, 2023, 2024, almost life in the Zongo was almost brought to a halt because of the confrontations in the Zongo and the subsequent closure of the Central Mosque. Yesterday, I attempted speaking to the Volta Regional Minister, who declined to make any further comment on the issue, but indicated that the office of the National Chief Imam is the only place we could get answers to why or how this issue panned out, leading to the installment of Alhaji Muniru Ali. He, however, indicated strongly that he has no hands in selecting who the Volta Regional Chief Imam is, and so any fingers pointed at him in regards to political undercurrent and the Volta Regional Coordinating Council certainly is a wrong accusation directed towards him and the office of the Volta Regional Coordinating Council.
We can now take a listen to Abdul Razak Abubakar now.
Allah has already given him the wisdom. May Allah prolong his life. May Allah prolong his life. We are also praying for our traditional father, that we will fear the 14th. May Allah continue to bless and guide him. Minister, we also want to take this opportunity to make an appeal. We have a lot of youth among us. I mean, there is opportunity, a job opportunity. I know a lot of opportunities are coming up. We will also take advantage, but if there is any facilitation, please, we'll be calling on you.
Now, we go to the Greater Accra region, where the ongoing process to recruit some 4,000 new personnel into the Ghana Armed Force has entered its second day, marking a more coordinated and orderly approach. More than 1,000 applicants have queued at the El-Wak Sports Stadium, undergoing documentation and verification and body part screening as part of the selection process. Now, my colleague Stanley Niblo is currently at the monitoring and exercise and will bring us an update on that as he joins us on the phone for updates. Stanley, if you can hear me, bring us update on what has ensued on day 2. Was it peaceful? Was there any complaints? Did you speak to some of the applicants over there? We dropped Stanley Nibla. We'll connect with him shortly, where he brings us updates from the second day of the vetting and exercise of the Ghana Armed Forces shortly. But moving on, the Weija Divisional Police Command has commenced investigation into the tragic death of the 13-year-old girl, Celestine Adonting, who was allegedly subjected to severe physical abuse by her father, Isaac Adonting, at Kokrobiti. Preliminary investigations indicates the suspect physically assaulted the victim with a cane, a metal pipe, and other objects to her younger sibling. Despite the victim sustaining multiple injuries, the suspect failed to seek medical care and kept her in a confined room. Police, acting on a complaint, proceeded to the residence where the victim was found unconscious. She was rushed to the police hospital but was pronounced dead on arrival. The body has since been deposited at the police hospital morgue for preservation and autopsy. The suspect, Isaac Adonting, a 54-year-old Mason, has been arrested and detained to assist with investigation. Exhibits retrieved from the scene include a cutlass and metal pipe allegedly used in the assault. The Accra Regional Police Command strongly cautions parents and guardians against the use of excessive force in correcting children, as such actions are unlawful and can lead to tragic outcomes. The command urges the public to report all forms of physical abuse and domestic violence promptly for swift intervention and protection of victims. Now, we'll take you to the earlier story where the ongoing process to recruit 4,000 new personnel into the Ghana Armed Force has entered its second day, marking a more coordinated, orderly approach. More than 1,000 applicants have queued at the El-Wak Sports Stadium, undergoing document verification and body part screening as part of the selection process. Joining us on the phone for updates is my colleague Stanley Niblo, who is currently monitoring the exercise. Stanley, if you can hear me, please give us an update on what happened this morning when you visited the El-Wak Sports Stadium.
Enyonam, so I must say that actually this we understand where we are at the moment, because this process had started somewhere last week and it has to be suspended. It's actually resumed yesterday after the leadership of the Ghana Armed Forces had revisited the drawing board to re-strategize as to how to approach the ongoing recruitment exercise. So I must say that what actually happened, where they couldn't manage the numbers that actually thronged the El-Wak Sports Stadium, this time around the process had been reviewed and they have actually attached coordinated phase to the approach, the recruitment exercise. So when you go to the El-Wak Sports Stadium today, 2 centers have been actually designated, and each center is supposed to screen a total number of 800 a day. So in effect, today, by close of today, we'll be expecting that the 2 centers will screen a total number of 1,600. And so right from the time the applicants will come through the entry point into the premises where the exercise is ongoing, there are also designated military officers who would actually walk them through the process. When they come, they will be offered seats. Then when it is time for them to go through the process to actually have their documents verified, a coordinated manner, the military officers will actually safeguard the process and then also walk them through the process and have their documents verified. When that is done, there is another withholding center where they will be asked to wait, and then they will be ushered into a room where an exercise which has to do with body specifications or body inspection will be done. That room, no media is expected to enter there. because it is only doctors from the 37 military hospital, together with the applicants that had been ushered into the room, are mandated to be in that room. So after that, then you'll be asked to go home. When you go home, the next phase is that if you receive a message from the Ghana Armed Forces, or a text message, either a text message or a phone call from the Ghana Armed Forces to reappear to continue the process, then which means you have qualified to partake in the next phase of the recruitment process. But in a situation where you go home and you refuse to, there is no a call or a message or any form of communication placed to you, then just consider yourself disqualified. And so I have been speaking to one captain, Giduno Tay. She's from the Public Affairs Directorate of the Ghana Armed Forces, and she had been talking to me, telling me or detailing what the process actually is to me. We can listen to what she told me earlier.
Extend our sincere condolences to the bereaved families. We continue to hold them in our prayers. And those on admission at 37 Military Hospital are also being provided with the best care possible, because the Ghana Armed Forces is always ready to assist the general public. And we crave the indulgence and assistance of the general public during this recruitment exercise as well. And we are the general public is also advised to take note that persons required to be present at the recruitment centers are the applicants alone. No family members should accompany them to the recruitment centers, because the area is safe, everything is going on well, and everybody is in good hands.
Okay. Those on admission, have some been discharged?
Yes, some have been discharged. We currently have 11 on admission at the hospital, and they are all doing very well.
Stanley, I'm sure you engaged some of the applicants that were there for day 2. What have been their reactions today?
Actually, the applicants who were there, we were actually barred from speaking to any official partaking in the process, or the applicants who are also going through the process. We were prevented from speaking to any of them. And the reason is best known to them. But I think when you look at their faces, everybody is being given the fair opportunity to go through the process. And so they are happy that they've been selected to go through this phase of the recruitment process. For them, they are optimistic that after this phase, they will qualify to join the next phase of the recruitment, so that they can be recruited into the service. 60,000 people actually applied for these 4,000 slots. And so it's going to be highly competitive. And for them, most of them are highly optimistic. They wanted to go through the process so that they can join the armed forces to serve Ghana.
Stanley, thank you so much for the updates. And that was my colleague Stanley Niblel bringing us an update on the day 2 for the recruitment process by the Ghana Armed Forces. Now to some other stories. 3 Foundation and Management of Media General have started a fundraiser to help secure an accommodation and a shop for 32-year-old domestic victim violence, Harriet Amuzu, to empower her economically. Meanwhile, Harriet has been taken to a safe haven following an intervention by the Gender Ministry and the Ghana Police Service. There's more in the following report.
Harriet Amuzu's story got many Ghanaians talking, highlighting the need to curb the canker of domestic violence in society. I was at a funeral on Saturday in my hometown when he called to say that my younger son was ill and that I must return to cater for him. I only came home to find the kids playing and asked why he lied to me. At night, he wanted to have sex with me. I refused because we've been estranged for 5 months. He told me that he had set a trap for me. He wanted to kill me. They are
handling the criminal aspect of it, and so we'll take the needed steps to ensure that she's also okay.
Economic empowerment is important for survivors of domestic violence, as it provides them with the needed resources to regain control over their lives. To help Harriet gain financial independence, 3 Foundation, the corporate social responsibility arm of Media General, has started a fundraiser inviting Ghanaians to join hands to help secure an accommodation and shop for Harriet amuzu. Viewers can send donations to 3 Foundation's Momo number 05974331110, reference Harriet amuzu. You can also send your donation to 3 Foundation's Zenith Bank account number 6010603927 or by personally bringing your donation to Media General at Desawe Kanda.
All donations are warmly welcome. Now to some health stories. The Mensah District Hospital in Kumasi is raising alarm over a concerning surge in preterm births. Hospital authorities say the increasing number of premature babies is putting immense pressure on the already congested pediatric and neonatal units. They are urgently appealing for the expansion of the facility to ensure quality care for mothers and newborns. My colleague Ibrahim Abubakar reports.
The Mensah District Hospital continues to serve hundreds of mothers and babies monthly, but its pediatric and neonatal wings are struggling to cope. Health workers say the rate of preterm birth at the facility has been steadily rising, pushing the already limited space to its breaking point.
Preterm rate is increasing for some reason. I mean, the reasons for which children will be born preterm are increasing. Hypertensive disorders of pregnancy is on the high side, infections, antepartum hemorrhage. These are all things that will make a pregnancy end prematurely. Those things sort of are increasing, and also now because of artificial assisted reproductive techniques, children are being born prematurely. But the space we have truly is not enough.
The lack of space is said to also increase risk of infection and reduces the number of babies the hospital can admit at a time.
And for preterm babies, they stay longer on the ward. Unlike other babies who may spend a few days, 3 days, 5 days, 1 week. Preterm baby, for example, these 28 weekers you are talking about, they will spend not less than a month. They spend much, much more time. So they don't leave for others to come. They occupy the beds and then they keep from them. So even the smaller space we have already, in real terms, also is not even available for new entrants. So space is a big problem here.
At a debate to raise awareness on preterm birth, management highlighted the urgent need for expanded neonatal care at the facility. The event was also used to educate the public on the causes of prematurity, the medical needs of preterm infants, and the essential role early medical intervention plays in improving survival rates.
That was a report by Ibrahim Abubakar. This has been the Midday News here on 3FM 92.7. For more news, please check our website at 3news.com. I am Enyonam Haligah. Business News is right up.